All right, what is going on? How y'all doing out there today? It is your Uncle Steve here on a Monday. It's the Monday Minutia here. I apologize, folks. Had to take care of a little business today before we got on the air. Just want to make sure I am here as early as I could be. And I tried for 6 o'clock, folks. I tried. But if you knew what I knew, you would be saying, yeah, bruh. I'm glad you took care of that. But this is your Uncle Steve here, Monday Minutia. Thank you for joining us. If you get a chance, please hit the like button on the video. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. We are looking forward to a really good show today. And y'all already see the topic. If you've been listening to me, as long as you've been listening to me, folks, you already know my feelings about Desmond Ridder. And it's not feelings that are negative. They are feelings of concern. And I think that's cool. There's nothing wrong with being concerned. So I am here to just have the therapy session with the folks and just to see how everyone else is feeling about this. And then y'all already see the title. Y'all see what's going on. Desmond Ridder, do you have faith in him or do you support him as a Falcons QB? I said, if I'm going to talk about this, not only am I going to need the chat, but I'm also going to need some help from my buddies. And one of my buddies coming on here is my buddy, Antoine Smitty Smith, here from Smitty Sports Machine. What is going on, brother?
What's up, Uncle Steve, man? You know what time it is. Thank you for always having me on, bro. I appreciate it.
And I, for some reason, cannot hear you, my friend. I don't know if you're on mute, if I'm on mute, whatever. Say it one more time, Smitty, because I don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I have no idea why I cannot hear you, my friend. Say, and I have you off of mute. So
you hear me now?
Pop up and pop down, folks. If y'all can hear Smitty in the chat, put a 1 in there so I can make sure, because I can't hear him, and if I can't hear him, that doesn't do any good.
Can y'all hear me in the
chat?
Y'all
hear myself and Smitty in the chat. Here's myself and Smitty in the chat. Put a 1 in there for me.
Yeah, they hear me.
Y'all can hear him. For some reason, I can't hear you, Smitty. I cannot hear you. Let me see if I can do anything.
Take your computer.
I'm going to ask y'all hear me. I cannot hear him on here, Smitty. Let's dip in and dip back out, Smitty, real quick. See if that will help. In the meantime, let me say hey to the chat. Everyone here, John Brooks in the house. What's up, Uncle Steve? Let's go Falcons. And I smashed that like button. Folks, do that for me. Smash the like button for me today. Folks, it's Monday. It's the start of the week. Y'all know good and well y'all ain't got nothing else to do. Man, hit the button. Hit the like button for a brother. Help me out, man. Ghost Pepper's in the house. What's going on, Ghost Peppers? How you doing, brother? Good to see you in here. Nice to see you, brother. Big John Higgins is in the house. What's going on, sir? Nice to see you here as well. Hopefully everything is good with you. Greg from Custom Kicks. Make sure y'all check Greg out and get y'all some of them kicks he talking about, man, because I tell you what, y'all don't know what you're missing if y'all ain't got them kicks from Greg. As a matter of fact, my kicks, I think, are upstairs because I think I used them last time when I went to the Falcon event, so I haven't had a chance to put them back down here where they're supposed to be. Stefan, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. The Minutia. JJ the Great is here. Good to see you, brother. John Brooks says, did you hear that Ryan Tannehill to the Falcons? You know, it's interesting. I have no idea where that's coming from. That's coming from somewhere. Let me see if I can get Smitty back in here and see. Smitty, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I guess Smitty is there. And for some unbeknownst reason,
make sure your computer ain't on mute.
Don't want us to talk today for some reason. And I feel bad about this. Tell you what, let me send another invite and see if that will help. Let me send another invite to you and see if that'll help, Smitty. Because so we can get you on here. Rusty says, I like Dez's potential. The good news is that you don't have to be Mahomes to work as a quarterback in this system. So that's going to be for us. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you got that point. I'm going to get into the definition as soon as I get Smitty back on here. Lisa, how you doing? Hey, good to see you today. Thanks for joining us. John says Ridder is the man. He'll be just fine. Lisa says I support Ridder because he's the quarterback of the Falcons. Ha ha. That's what I want to get into as soon as I get back down a little bit in here. Greg says I'm going to give Ridder a fair shot. If we gave Mariota a fair shot, it's his opportunity to prove those doubters right or wrong. That simple. John says, okay, y'all talking about being able to hear. Yeah, I don't know why I am not hearing him on here, but we're going to figure that out in one good second, y'all. Fogle the Great is in the house. What's going on, brother? How you doing today? Dexter's in here. What's going on, sir? Good to see you. Dexter said, I finally subscribed. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And hit that like button. 95 North Falcons Talk. That's my buddy Berto in the house. What is going on, sir? And the Facebook user says, good evening, Unc. 95 North says, hello to everybody in the chat. Yeah, folks, for the guys talking to me off the thing, the computer is definitely not on mute. So I don't know what's going on. But I tell you what, let me get the let me put the link back in here for you guys. And then we'll see. Mike, what's going on, brother? How you doing, Mike? Good to see you in the house, my friend. Thank you for joining me here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. So let's talk real quick while we're getting our technical difficulties out the way. Let's talk real quick about faith and support. If you look at the scroll that I have underneath, I'm putting it down there to be fair, folks. I've said this before, and I know a lot of people have accused me of, Steve, you're not supporting the young man coming to the team. You're not doing this as far as Dez is concerned, and that's not true. And because that bothered me so much that I kept hearing people say that, I went and found the definitions of faith and support as far as the Cambridge Dictionary is concerned. So I went to look, and I looked up first faith. And faith is something that you believe is true and trustworthy, firm belief in something for which there is no proof or support. So you can think of it religiously. You can think of it as, somebody who you haven't seen do a task and just say, I have faith that that person is going to do that. I have the faith that that's going to work out. Support, the definition is to agree with and give encouragement to someone or something. Someone or something. And that is support. So when I was talking about how I am it's bothering me about my I don't know. I don't want to say my faith is low in him, but I'm trying to figure out what is it about the young man, aside of attributes like I hear him, seems like he's a good leader. Why is it that I am so apprehensive as a longtime Falcon fan about not completely trusting Desmond Ridder right now? And I thought about it. It's not personal. You know what it is? Y'all really want to know what it is? It's this right here. And I'm going to come down from this screen and I'm going to bring up another screen here. And this is what it is right here. The Atlanta Falcons as a team over the years. Let's look at that. Let's look at that list. And let's be honest with ourselves. And this is from Pro Football Reference, if you guys want to know. They just about, you want any stat in that world of any team, players, or anything, this is actually one of the best sites out there. I'm looking at the history of our team, folks. I'm looking at the history of our quarterback position. I am not going to sit here and even try to have a discussion about number one. Number one is the winningest quarterback in Atlanta history. Number one is the only one to achieve an MVP. Number one is the only one that really had us on the cusp, as much as Chris Chandler did his thing, and he did for 1 year, but had us on the cusp of a championship, and that's Matt Ryan. I'm not even going into that discussion because it's not really a discussion. Matt Ryan, to me, arguably is the best squad. I don't even think, honestly, it's not even arguably anymore. He's the best quarterback in Atlanta franchise history. May not be the most popular with some people, but he's the best. Let's look at that list, though, y'all. I have my favorites. I loved Bartkowski. He was good because Bartkowski was the first quarterback that I truly followed as a little young pup. Truly followed. When Bartkowski went to the Rams, I was heartbroken. It really was. But let's keep looking at that list, folks. And I'm going by yards. Chris Miller. Chris Miller was okay. But he really wasn't that guy. He had the too legit to quit year, and that's really it. Go down the list some more. Chris Chandler gets a little bit of a mulligan. He took us to a Super Bowl. No doubt. Not doubting he did that. Mike Vick, exciting. Gave us 2 playoff wins. Nice. We all know the story. But his time in Atlanta was very brief, and that's what happened. Jeff George went to the Super Bowl the year he was a starter. Bobby Hebert got us there in the last game. But Jeff George got us, was the quarterback that season. And then just look at the list. Bob Berry, Bobby Hebert, Randy Johnson, David Arch. So as a longtime Falcon fan, not somebody who just, and no offense to you guys that's coming up, as somebody who has been in this game watching as a fan since the early 70s, tell me what expectations that I have for these guys, and just about every last one of them at sans number one really let me down. So it is kind of a therapy session. I need to know from you all, what is it about Desmond Ridder that makes you say he is the guy for this team? Now, let me put a little preface there by saying I absolutely think this Falcons team is still going to win the NFC South. I think we have plugged and poached folks out of free agency. Well, I think we have done everything we need to do to supplant to put every position in a good place on this team, from defensive line to secondary to offensive, solidifying the offensive line to more weapons in the backfield. All those things to surround up and coming quarterback with success. So I still believe, in spite of my hard thoughts of what Ridder could be, that we still have the potential to make the playoffs. Tell me why. Why am I still feeling this way? I'm trying to get somebody up here one more time. You good?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I have no idea. And I'm putting the mute on and mute off. I have no idea why this is happening. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to march on, and what I'm going to swing this in here, and I might have to grab one of you guys to come in here and test this thing and see if it's just me. But in the meantime, tell me, why should I have faith in Mr. Ridder? Please tell me. Please tell me. Please tell me. Please tell me. Stefan says, I would support Ridder. Faith in him is a bit strong right now. After this season, it could change. I feel you on that, Stefan. David, what's going on? Eddie, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? Why isn't the criticism of Ridder not based on anything football related? Is my question. Is he too light-skinned? Hair too curly? What do we have to do to garner y'all support? Eddie, you are a fan of this team, and I've seen your post, I've seen your support, and I have nothing but respect for what you're saying. But I also say, as somebody who's been a long time fan of the team and somebody who supports them, what is it? Let me turn it around. What is it? And you saying support. Make sure you get that right. And maybe you missed the beginning too, Eddie. I mean, at the very beginning. I support Ridder. And if you look at the little scroll down there, I have the definition of faith in support. So I support him. Support is to agree with and give encouragement to someone or something. That's support. I do that. My faith is what's lacking in this young man. To your point, I don't think it has anything to do with his skin color. If it does, shame on me. But I'm just kind of, I don't know, man. I've been fooled before. This laughable list of quarterbacks in our history have all at one time garnered my support. And more than 75 to 80% of the time, the folks on this list have let me down. So there is a history there of support, and in a lot of cases, faith. And faith has been turned down and smashed. And, so I do feel like I'm owed something else. I do, as a fan. JJ says, I like Ridder and I'm happy we're giving him a shot, but I won't have faith until he proves he's worthy of it. Faith needs to be earned, and we'll see if he can this season. I mean, I don't even know what else to say about that. I mean, that's kind of framed exactly how I feel. When I hear everyone saying, give him a chance, that's support. Obviously, I'm going to give him a chance. Guess what? If he doesn't succeed, we're not going to be good. We're not going to have a great season. So I want him to succeed. So it's not about supporting the young man. It's about the blind faith I'm hearing in everybody else. Like, yeah, did you hear him talk? He talked like a winner. Okay. There's a lot of folks they talk the talk. You'll see. 95 North said, when you walk by faith, you don't walk by sight. So I have faith is the youngest. Yeah, I hear you. And that's legitimate too, brother. I absolutely hear you. That's legit. Dexter says, I think Ridder is going to be fine to take his that school to the playoffs, lose to the powerhouse Georgia by 3. Played Alabama tough, and I think he got sacked 11 times that game. Now, yeah, the first year he lost to Georgia, let's kind of keep it real. That Georgia team was far cry from the Georgia team the next year. So, yes, still an SEC team by 3. Yeah, he played Alabama tough. Man, played them tough, but, and granted, I'll give him more of a pass in the Bama game because he might have been the second best player on the field during that game. He just didn't have the support system around him on the team that helped him out. So, what's going on, Chuck? How you doing, man? What's up, Steve? You are correct. I was mistaken on that dream record yesterday. That's all good. I know the Braves are 20 games over 500. I have great expectations for our Falcons this season. And I know you do, my brother. Marcos, it's Stockholm Central. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. Yeah, y'all look it up. That's exactly what it is. He says, though, this is a totally different GM, though, brother. Listen, maybe a couple of y'all coming in late. I had a little bit of an intro in it. I have faith. Terry Fontenot is the reason why I think even if Ridder doesn't, I don't want to say fall on his face because that's not what I'm rooting for. I'm saying even if he doesn't have the strongest year in the world, I still believe in the core of what he's built on this team. So in spite of some of the things I think about Ridder, I still think he may be good enough to still lead this team to the playoffs. But I'm just trying to hear of all of the good time, y'all, of course Ridder's going to be great. Yeah, can't y'all see it? I don't. And I admit my vision is not great. But I'm just trying to hear why this year. Somebody made a point earlier about, well, last year we gave Mariota a chance. Well, here's the difference between last year and Mariota. And I'm not trying to talk about the intelligence of any fan. The solid Atlanta Falcon fan last year knew what Mariota was coming in here for. They knew what he was coming for. He was coming to bridge the past into the future. He was coming to Matt Ryan to whoever the heir was. And at this point, the heir is Desmond Ridder. If you didn't know that, God bless you. But that's what he was brought here for. The expectation level for Mariota was nowhere near what it probably should be for Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder was drafted to be part of the future of this team. Now, can you find quarterbacks in the 3rd round? Absolutely you can. History has shown it. You can find quarterbacks anywhere past the 1st round. Every quarterback doesn't have to be picked in the 1st round to be great. But I'm also still trying to see, aside of his Cincinnati career, what is it that makes everyone think that he is the guy? Again, I'm asking you to convince me. I'm not telling you I don't believe he's going to be good. I'm asking you to say, convince me that he is the guy. Facebook user says, I think it's the fact of where he played and the level of competition he faced. People don't think his name pops out like a young Strouder, big name from a power school. That could be fair. That's fair. Absolutely fair. But I think he got a considerable amount of pub that year they ran the table up into the playoffs, though. But you're absolutely right. That could have a lot to do with it. What's up, Drew? How you doing? Good to see you. Say, I like Ridder too. Think most pressure is on Bijan, though. I think there is pressure on Bijan. It's crazy to say this though, Drew. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I think Bijan is such a luxury. That's why I think people were a little bit kind of torn with that pick, because Bijan was picked when you knew you found a gem in the 5th round with Tyler Algier last year. So you said, "Oh, we stole Tyler Algier last year. We said it, running back. Let's go get a D tackle." And then when that didn't happen, it was like, "What are we doing?" Oh, now Bijan is like an extra. So I kind of disagree with you there. I think it's less pressure on him. It's more pressure on Desmond Ridder because he's playing the most important position in North American sports. The most important position. He's saying all the right things, though. I got to give him credit on that. Facebook user says, for me, it's simple. Based on his college and limited NFL play, I don't think he's talented enough to lead the team to a Super Bowl ring. I want better for the team I love. Could he prove me wrong? Yes. But to believe he can play better without any evidence, that is possible, is absurd to me. I might have to take off, I think that was JJ's comment, and replace it with this one. I think this is how I feel. Now, I support him, and I listen to his, his bravado and everything. And yeah, I'm going to bring the Super Bowl team. I hear you, brother. I hear you. And I'm down with the talk. I don't know. As much as Matt Ryan, I felt the same way with him. As much as I felt like this with Matt Ryan, for some goofy, weird, unorthodox reason, I still thought Ryan might have a little bit more of a chance. I don't know. Blame it on me. I don't know. Eddie says, you're really digging too deep to make your reasoning sound legit. And it's not. None of that stuff has anything to do with Ridder. Absolutely not. Eddie, that's your opinion, brother. Brother, I can't sit here and tell you how to think or what to think, man. That's the reason we have debate. So you're digging deep. I say you're not thinking about it enough. But that's you and you. You come on the video. I'll shoot back at you, and we'll just think the other thing. But yes, it does have something to do with Ridder. It does, in my opinion. So, but I hear you, brother. God bless you. God bless you. All right. John Harris says, faith is defined as an assured explanation of what is for, the evident demonstration of realities, though not seeing that evidence what? Let's see. Faith is defined as the assured expectation of what is hoped for, the evident demonstration of realities, though not seen. That evident demonstration part is the kicker. Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you. You were going the elegant roll around it, but I got you. D. Sloan says, Ridder is the future of our franchise, and he's going to show why they effed up 12-5 or better this year. D, I hope so. I hope so. Still not going to make me think any differently, but I hope so. And it's not a hate. It's not a hate at all. It's not a hate at all. It's not a hate at all. David Starr says, if you criticize him, you're not giving him a chance. It's double talk. He's not done enough to be criticized, but he's done enough to be the starter after 4 starts. It's basic. Absolutely. It's a no. It's a no-win situation. It really is. It really is, y'all. It really is. Marco says, I think Desmond has the IQ far better than the best quarterback. I hope so. I hope so. Facebook user says, I keep hoping I would hear something from camp like Ridder is making amazing throws or Ridder is looking special. Not hearing it. And I've been to two, and I'm the same way. I'm thinking the same. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second. All right. Drew says he can run out of the pocket and extend plays almost like Mahomes. Be careful. The comparison game, I'm real about the comparison game. I don't like that. I don't like the comparison game. I really don't. Jeremy Cox, what's going on, my brother? Sounds have faith that Ridder will be good enough manager for Atlanta to be successful. With the scheme that looks to be in place, he doesn't have to be Lamar or Pat as long as the blocking improves. I only listen to hyped up crazy music, but if I need to wind down, I'll put up some sleep sounds of the 2 instrumental albums by the Beastie Boys released. And that was the second question, y'all. I know we got hot and heavy into the Falcons, but we also had the second question about music to relax to today. I figured this was going to be a very polarizing topic, but that is the other question that we had in the chat about music to relax to. Obviously, we might need some of that music after some of this talk today about opinions. Facebook, you say, what's up? What up? What's going on, man? Said David said, I'll believe it when I see it, and fans have a problem with that. And yeah, I just don't want any, and I don't want people, and I'm only using you, Eddie, because you happen to bring up a good point about what you felt didn't have anything to do with it. And that's your opinion. And that's why we do this thing, for opinions. It's not, no one's right, no one's wrong. Because if you were right, I mean, he would have won 4 games and we would have made the playoffs last year. So it's not about taking it, to a level of you don't know and I don't know like that. So that's why I'm having the discussion. I think, to me, are we having this discussion of how great his potential is because we haven't seen excellent play at that position in the last 3 or 4 years? Because Matt had a pretty good year in 18, so I'm going to take that out of it. Are we just that starved for somebody to be that good here? I mean, that could be it. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. Lisa says, I would say faith comes because Ridder has been designated by the organization as our quarterback 1. They are the ones making the decision, so we must trust that. If this turns out to be a massive fail, then we will be side-eyeing Fontenot and Smith. So your point, I do get your point. You're absolutely right. You say we must trust it. And again, I do trust Terry with every move we've made so far. I even give him credit for getting Desmond in here. You know what I'm a little bit upset about? We've designated him already as the number 1 quarterback, and yet you picked up somebody who has a season plus worth of starts, and you can argue maybe evenly yoked. I don't know. Taylor looked pretty crisp. Taylor Heineke looked pretty crisp in the practices. So, I don't know. But you're right about, yeah. Then we'll be side-eyeing Fontenot then. Eddie says his numbers on third down was through the roof in the start. You're right about that. He did convert a lot of third downs, and Mariota couldn't do that to save his life. I'll give you that. I will give you that. You're right. Marco says, Kelly stands up. Kelly, and he said, you would hear more of that when they put pads on and actually compete. Right now, they're just doing walkthroughs with very little defending. Yeah, I'm one of the main people that talk about the T-shirts and shorts. Remember Mike Davis. That's all I got to say with that. Facebook user says, you can have a below the middle of the road quarterback and be successful. Surround him with weapons and a defense and watch. Seattle and Baltimore want to stop with those anomalies. Y'all got to stop with that. That doesn't happen all the time. If it happened all the time, then we would see more Super Bowl winners with subpar quarterbacks. Baltimore won, and I'm sure you're talking about Trent Dilfer. And Russell Wilson wasn't losing games either. The year they won the Super Bowl, Russell Wilson actually had a solid year. Let's not stop that. Brad Johnson, when Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, had a decent year. Jim McMahon was one of the best quarterbacks in the game that particular year, even though his defense probably scored more points than the offense. Facetiously. But stop. 49ers are a contender now with 1-2. No, Purdy is actually not bad. I would take Purdy on this team right now if he were available. Now, can Desmond, and I keep comparing his hopefully his trek to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts got a little taste of football the year before, and then he turned out the next year to have a good year. I hope he does turn out to be that. Yeah, we can't keep going to that same old song. And it's always funny because we reach to the same 2 Super Bowls. Name 10 of them. Name 10 times when the team that won the Super Bowl didn't have above average to elite quarterback play. You name me 10 of them, then I'm good. 10 Super Bowl winners. But that's just to me, and it's not dogging you out. It's a lazy narrative to keep going back to those 2. And I'll argue again. Seattle team, Russell Wilson was actually not bad that year. Go look it up. He wasn't horrible. And I'm sure you're talking about the Baltimore team with Trent Dilfer because you can't be talking about the Joe Flacco team because Joe Flacco could have been the MVP of the postseason that year. I think he had like 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. Facebook user says, I supported this team despite decades of terrible front office decisions. I and fans deserve to be critical of anything we deem as an issue. See, and I want to yell to the top of my lungs with this statement, but I'm also one of those people that I'm saying, yeah, gonna let people have their opinions on things. I get it, but he or she is absolutely right. I can't see because that's Facebook user. I and the fans deserve to be critical. You do. And it's not being negative to point out things that may not make you feel good. In other words, last year, Mariota, there wasn't really a soul holding the flag for Mariota last year. Nobody. But he won that game against Frisco. We had him as a Pro Bowl quarterback. All I got to do is go back to the film. Some people were excited about him. Rusty says, look, you can get any worse than last year's quarterback. Marcus was literal trash bag juice. He was, but Rusty, I demand more as a fan. Rusty, you're smart enough to know why Mariota was brought in here. Mariota wasn't brought in here to be he wasn't brought in here to be a savior. He was brought in here to mask the fact that we had no money to get anybody else. That's why he was brought in here. David says, I've been through just about every quarterback on the list you put up from Barkowski on. I'm still here and I'm not going anywhere. That's the thing. Like I said, this is talk, and I don't want y'all to get it twisted. nobody's saying because I've seen the worst from a long time ago that I know any better than somebody who was born 6 years ago. Well, not born 6 years ago, but just became a fan 6 years ago. I'm not trying to tell you I know more or anything, but I can tell you what I have been through. I've been through putrid, below average, average, and above average quarterbacks. So my ceiling hasn't even been close to reached. Yes, I'm including Matt Ryan in that. He was above average for most of his time. It was never elite. He had one great season that he was probably considered elite, maybe that year. But other than that, as a Falcon fan from the day Bartkowski got drafted from California midnight, that particular time, we have not had great quarterbacks. Everybody we marched up here, Chris Miller, man, that guy from Oregon, he's going to be the next. He's going to be the next guy. He's going to be real good. Now, this Dave Archer now, he's tough as nails. He's tough as nails. Oh, we trade for Jeff George. Oh, Jeff George. Man, you see how he flings that ball around? Jeff George is going to be a difference maker in this game right here. And Bobby Hebert, I mean, he's solid. He'll be able to do. And Chris Chandler, he's the perfect veteran quarterback that you want for this. Do you see where I'm going? So spare me all the, superlatives about somebody who's only touched the field 4 times. I think that's where I'm going. And maybe it's because I think things are different this year. This era. Of course, social media, you say one thing and somebody says, one person of legitimacy comes out and says, Desmond Ridder is going to be a star. Then we plant that on 5 different Twitter accounts and whatever, and everybody believes what they drink. Saba says, what's up, brother? Says the truth is nobody will know what happened with Ridder takes to him during the upcoming system. But for me, I'm desperate for drastic change from what I've been watching the last 6 years. And I wish you had capitalized desperate, because that's what we are. As fans, we're desperate, y'all. We are desperate. John Harris says, as far as faith in Ridder, he has no track record to have faith in as a pro. That's not a shot. There are some people who are going to look at this statement and say, oh, you're just trying to get a zinger. No, we don't have any evidence. We have evidence of him on a college level in a mid-tier conference. And then every time he played a big school, it was, rough. What scares me the most about everybody that keeps, emphasizing the 4 games last year, do y'all realize where we were those last 4 games? The last 4 games we played New Orleans, a team that was struggling the same way we were. Matter of fact, New Orleans, lucky that they beat us both times, because they would have only won 5 games last year. We played a Baltimore team that didn't have Lamar Jackson, barely scored an offensive touchdown, and they beat us. We came back home and played an Arizona team on their 3rd string quarterback, and he almost beat us at home. And then we played Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay played their starters about a quarter and a half. Tom Brady sat down in the 2nd quarter. And those are the things that bother me, because in my opinion, Desmond Ridder played the equivalent of the 3 preseason games he played earlier in August and September. That's what worries me. That's what worries me. That's what bothers me. Jeremy says, I see Ridder to be more of a Chandler with 2 Jamal Andersons at his disposal. He won't have to do what most NFL quarterbacks have to do. And that's why I give Coach Smith and Terry Fontenot a lot of credit, because this isn't a show. This isn't a show about what I think about them. No problem with what Terry them did. They did every single thing to make life easier for that quarterback. Bravo, bravo. He did a great job there. So you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's actually a very good analogy there. Because Chandler did. Chandler handed the ball off to Jamal when he needed to. When he had a play action, he had Terrence Mathis, Mr. Automatic, every time he caught the ball. And he did his thing. And rolled Jamal and the rest of them all the way to and a good defense. A good defensive line. Travis Hall, Chuck Smith. Good defensive line. Greg says, I really think Ridder has something to prove and why he should have been picked in the first round. Never let no one tell you what you can't be. Here's the background chat. I hope he does. I hope he does. But I also hope he realizes that it's not a personal shot at him. It's probably, unfortunately, broken hearts in the Atlanta Falcons fandom. We are hurting, y'all. We are hurt. Do you realize that this is going on the longest playoff drought since the 80s? This is a long drought. This is 5 years. We want any kind of semblance of winning. So it's not against the team. That's not going to stop me from rooting for my Birds. All day, all night, 24/7. I don't care who's at quarterback. My biggest question is what I'm trying to look into the eyes of those who have that blind faith in Ridder to say he's going to be that guy. And that might not be every fan, but I'm talking especially to those who feel like he is the guy. Falconator, now what's up, Vinny? How you doing, brother? Said we can have faith in Ridder, but who we need to have faith in is Coach Smith and Terry. Absolutely. They see what Desmond has to offer every day in OTAs and minicamps. We have to trust our front office that they do what's best for the team, whether we give Ridder the reins or find someone else who can. That's a fair statement. And I do trust, for the record, that's not even my – I want to defend Coach Smith and Terry more than anything else. Yeah, Coach, did you leave a couple of plays on the field last year against the Chargers and the Commanders and maybe Pittsburgh? Absolutely. But I do have faith that he can take an elevated roster and do more with it. I hope he can. I think he will. Scooter, what's going on, man? Scooter say you hit it on the nail, John. Slim Dollar says, to me, it's not about like or dislike of Ridder. It's about people know it's highly improbable to make the playoffs without a franchise quarterback. Ridder fans are just running with the moral victories, not the stats. See, I get a just shake my head moment when people kind of understand what I'm saying. Nobody is here to talk about Desmond Ridder, the person. I think the young man is a good young man. Again, he seems intelligent. I mean, he was doing, look, I'm as much as I love the OTAs and the practices and stuff like that, I'm so ready for preseason and regular season to get here because that's what he's going to be judged on. He's not going to be judged by an interview at OTAs. He's not going to be judged where he smiled during an interview, or he's not going to be judged about how close he is to Drake London. He's going to be judged about what he's going to do on the field against real competition with real things at stake. And maybe that's what I should have said at the end of the year last year. There was nothing at stake for us. We had a slim to none chance when we played the Saints last year and we played Baltimore last year. Slim to none chance of making the playoffs. That didn't happen. Then he won 2 games, which really didn't mean anything. Folks, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not telling you a lot of that was smoke and mirrors, but I am telling you that he wasn't going against guys he's going to be going against week 1, week 2, week 3. This is the real deal. So I want to have faith, but right now I just have tons of support for the young man. He's wearing the brand. And I keep telling people that, and somebody told me about that when I said that. He wears the brand. If he wears the brand, I support him all day. Support. And again, look down below at the scroll, the definition of faith, the definition of support. They are two different things. Somebody tried to explain. That's why I put that down there. Someone tried to explain to me and say they were two different things. That they weren't two different things. They are two different things. They are. Greg says, I hope Ridder thrives off the background chatter. I hope he does too. But don't listen to it too much. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I heard him in the interview and said he heard, yeah, that's great. And that's great for the press. You know what impressed me? 4-0, 3-1. Middle of the season, 7-2, 7-3. End of the season, 12-5, 11-6, 10-7. That's what impresses me. Not worried about whether he's listening to the chatter. Matter of fact, I almost tell him don't listen to the chatter. Ain't gonna mean nothing. I need you to beat Carolina. I need you to beat New Orleans twice. I need you to beat Tampa Bay twice. That's the assignment. The assignment is to win the NFC South. I don't care if he goes for 4,000 yards. I don't care if he throws 40 touchdowns. I do care if he throws over 15 interceptions. But I just want him to succeed. But I'm just trying to hear where, I'm just trying to get where people are just having blind faith. That's all. Dexter says, I did see them talking about Ridder, and he had the highest quarterback rating when facing pressure in them 4 games. Let's hope it carries on. He got his Robin to start off in London, in Pitts. Yes, Josh Allen was a boo-boo. Yeah. And again, you're right. He's going to have, thanks to Terry, thanks to Coach Smith, he's going to have the squad around him to succeed. So I hope he does. Ben says, I give Ridder a chance too. What's going on, brother? How you doing, Ben? Good to see you, brother. Thank y'all for in the chat, man. I'm trying to catch up, man. I'm trying to read as fast as I can. Drew says, he also don't have enough to say Ridder won't be good. Only place he has to go is up. Plus, I heard Arthur Smith says he is improving in practice. Only time will tell. Absolutely. I hear you. I hope it's true. So Drew, again, you're not convincing me that he doesn't have the potential to do the job. I'm really talking to the folks that has him basically as a Pro Bowl, all-pro quarterback already. He's the best quarterback in the NFC South. I hope he is. But you're talking about Derek Carr, who has been to the playoffs, who has won some in his career, and has been in the league for 5 or 6 years. I know he's on the team, and there's a reason why he was let go and all of that stuff, but it's not like Derek Carr is a slug. Baker Mayfield might be a different story. Yeah, I'll put that to the side. Bryce Young is a rookie. Should be better than him. So, JJ said, this is why Ridder should have been put in sooner. If he would have played more games, we have a clearer picture of what he could be. JJ, and that's another thing. So you go back, and I know, Benny, you were talking about the moves that Terry and Coach Smith made. I think that could have been the evolution of Arthur Smith. I think if he had an opportunity to do this over again, I think that Dave Mariota was trying to do try to break dance on the floor of Carolina and threw that ball in the air, which of course didn't count. The day he did that would have been the day I put Ridder in. To JJ's point, we have a clearer picture of what Ridder would be. I know there are some that say, well, don't throw the rookie quarterback. Look what Carolina about to do. Carolina's about to throw Bryce Young in. And I guarantee you Houston is probably going to do the same thing. And Indianapolis is more than likely going to do the same thing. A lot of people was like, oh, Richardson, you can't do that. Yes, they can. Heard the owner said, hey, he might have to get in there earlier. Dexter says, before Diggs, Allen was a boo-boo. I think we got all the pieces to succeed with him right now. Weapons galore. With this schedule, how can't he succeed? Though I know some games gonna get better. I mean, we hope so. I hope the game. Like I said, I never believe that easy schedule stuff. I don't. As a fan, I will root and say, "Oh yeah, that game is easy." But man, no game is easy. Did the Chiefs get swept? Did the Chiefs get swept by? Did the Chiefs get swept by? Is it Denver? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Denver or the Raiders? Could be wrong. John says, "Unk." He says, "Unk, with you. I'm telling people, convince people think I don't like Ridder. That isn't the case. I like Ridder. Just convince me. That's it. Show me." Like a young Tom Cruise told Cuba Gooding, "Show me the money. Show me. I can't just give it to you." Again, appreciate the love, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all like the video for me. Push this video into, because it's a good subject between Atlanta Falcon fans. I think there is this misconception that because you are critical of the most important guy, which is the quarterback, no doubt, not saying the other pieces don't mean anything, but because I'm critical of him, that makes me less of a fan, which is not only bizarre, ridiculous, uninformed, uneducated. It also, to me, makes him more accountable to me as a fan. That in my mind, I want him to get criticized. Y'all don't think Tom Brady got criticized when he first came into the league? Matter of fact, Tom Brady, you know what Tom Brady, the first, and I forgot who I was talking to about this when we were talking the other day. Tom Brady was criticized even when he won those first 2 Super Bowls. Folks still said Peyton Manning was better than him. Do you know how much that probably hurt him? And inside, like, dang, I'm bringing these folks championships and y'all still saying Peyton is better? So keep them honest. So if Desmond is reading if Desmond is hearing the chatter, hopefully he's hearing the chatter and kind of turns it into something positive. Facebook user says, "Part of my frustration with Ridder is our Falcon filter. For years, this filter has put talent in the backseat to character." That's a good point. That's a really good point. Really good point. 3 dirties. Ridder played with more games in college than most quarterbacks. He started day 1 in college, and I am not mistaken. He also has a lot of experience. He shows he can improve and has the skill set to improve. Everything you said is accurate, dead on. But I just still am skeptical. It's not a matter of not liking. There is nothing on me saying I don't like this guy. It's saying I just have reservations. I do. I'm glad that a lot of you are that have that type of thing where you just say, "Hey, you're the man going out there," and that's fine. Facebook user says, "What's going on, Steve? Finally caught your live broadcast. How you doing? What's going on? I don't know who you are at the moment, but I will probably see you in a second." Ghost Pepper says, "Your dislike or like for Desmond Ridder doesn't define your fandom. Thank you, Jesus. Now praying on a player's downfall who's on the team you root for to prove a point, that's when fandom comes into question." That's very, very accurate. And that's a good point, Ghost Peppers, because I don't want, and I hope I made myself clear. Dude, I want this guy to be the next Mahomes. And I hate comparisons, so let me stop. I want this guy to be successful. Why would I not want the guy who's playing for the team that I've been rooting for 50 years? Why would I not want him to be successful? It's a ridiculous notion. But you know what I'm going off of? Unfortunately, I'm going off of the wretched past that we've had. We've had a past that we've been built up before that. June Jones was going to be the guy. That Bartkowski was going to be the guy. that David Archer was going to be the guy. Legitimately. Chris Miller was going to be the guy. Jeff George was going to be the guy. Mike Vick was going to be the guy. Chris Chandler was going to be here and be longer, stay here longer. So after all those times when, and each of those guys, just about some of those guys, and not saying they didn't have peak years, but does 1 year make a season, make a career? Does 1 year make you great? Is Chris Chandler the second greatest quarterback in Atlanta history because he took us to that Super Bowl? Some would argue maybe. I don't think that's the case. But, yeah. JJ says, the only thing I don't like about Ridder's discourse is how some fans think we're not real fans if we're skeptical of them. You can't tell people how to think or be fans. That's kind of the gatekeeping. And I was talking about that. That's what I was talking about with Eddie early on about, listen, that's fine. We can have a difference of opinion on what you think about him as a quarterback. And listen, I sit here, and if you watch me long enough, I was hoping we would have spent the money for Lamar and whatever. But at the same time, after we did what we did with the money, then I was like, oh, never mind. We good. But that still doesn't mean I can't have reservations about this guy being their quarterback. I'll tell you what, I am glad they got Taylor Heineke in here. I'm not trying to tell you he's the end all be all, but I think he might be somebody that if the wheels come off, I think I'd feel good about him being on this team. So, oh, what's up, Jory? How you doing, man? Good to see you. That must have been you up there. Okay, brother. Okay. Drew said, "Yeah, John been hating on Ridder forever." John is not hating on Ridder. Now, and that's the problem. I think the hating word has gotten so thrown out of proportion with a lot of people. Yeah, that's not true. The Falcon says, "Tell Coach Smith you're in the middle of a video and quit calling you." Yeah, man, I know. Look, I might have to message you and tell you what that was, Vinny. I know, right? This did a great job with Ridder, especially putting Taylor behind him. If he wets the bed, I'm not concerned about the quarterback position. I want to see what this defense. I'm gonna tell you right now, and you can ask anybody who probably, dude. I'm telling you, that defense looks a little different. I don't know if I didn't take anything else out of these OTAs and out of that defense looks different. They look different. I think that's going to be a surprise. While the rest of the world is going to have the camera on Ridder trying to see if he's good or not, the defense is going to be doing their thing. Brother Winston is in the house. What's up, Winston? I support Ridder because he's our quarterback. Let's go back. Because he's our quarterback, but he has done nothing for me to have faith in him yet. That's like going to your favorite restaurant for a new dish and believing it's great before it's tried. And you know we do that all the time. We look at the dish and it's named something good, like, oh, honey dripped scallops and something like that. And then we get it and it's like, yeah, that's like some sweet fish. That's not good. Yeah, I hear you. 330 says Grover Washington Jr. Wine Light. Wine Light, that was actually a really good album. That was the one with just the two of us on there, the Bill Williams cuts on that album too. That was a good one. Very good. John Harris says music to relax to. Gene Ammons, the Modern Jazz Quartet, Oscar Peterson. That's some good stuff. Heard that before. What's up, man? Said, I'm side-eyeing Smith, not Terry. And that's fair. As I was saying before, what Terry has done to give us this opportunity to reinvent this team this year, he's going to get an A+ from me no matter what. I have to be careful with criticism from Arthur Smith because to a man, if he is probably sitting at home by himself or with his wife, whatever, he's probably saying to himself, dang, I won 7 games my first year and 7 games my next year with a roster that nobody would want. Now, my criticism, while he's done that he had a couple of opportunities last year. The Commander game sticks in my mind the most. Maybe how we kind of played with the lead against New Orleans in the season opener. The Chargers game, there was chock full of a couple of questionable plays that I think we could have won. All the games I'm talking about, we lost and could have won. And, of course, the Pittsburgh game at the very near the end of the season. I thought those were other big things. JJ says, I'd be more skeptical of Smith than Ridder if Ridder isn't good. True. Heard that before. It says Terry been fixing it fixing it with the Phillip head screwdriver or whatever. Big Low in the house. What's going on, man? Says stop getting naked for Taylor. True, man. He is putting it down. Big Low, I don't know what happened to my audio today. For some reason, Smitty couldn't get his audio in there. Y'all got a chance, either you or Berto. I would love to test that out and see if that was him or me. So it might have been me. So we'll see. Drew says Smith got one of the worst rosters in the NFL. 7 wins last year. Can't hate. That's what I said. I didn't even see you say that. Smart Ride, what's going on? Said thank you, Steve. Those teams had Hall of Fame defenders on it. Yep. JJ says the Ravens and Saints also had top 10 defenses ever. Yep. Anthony, trying to get you on here, Anthony. Try it again. People can get mad all they want. Ridder is still a question mark whether they like it or not. But we have to keep things in perspective. If we make the playoffs this year, would it be because of the roster or weak division schedule? Again, the sky's the limit for Ridder and his job to lose. It's funny that Big Low is in here because I think he asked me that question, Anthony, and to a man, he asked me, he said, will we win because we're that good this year, or will we win more because we're that good or because of our division and schedule? I told him probably more because I think what I like about what we've done with the roster, remember all those 1-year contracts that we have with a couple of the Bud Duprees and Calais, that money goes right back into the pot next year. So if we do end up having a little bit of success, now you're of what you need to do. If Calais Campbell comes in and he gets 7 or 8 sacks and says to himself, you know what, I want to play at 38, then you have some flexibility to do that. And unfortunately gets hurt again, which has been his history, unfortunately. And then you can move on from that contract. So he set it up great for us to have future success. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, we'll probably win because it's weak division. Wallace, what's going on, man? Said nothing much, brother. Everything's going well. We are talking resetting. We are talking about Desmond Ridder. We are talking about, do you have faith in him or do you support him? And if, for those of you who don't know what I'm going by, and if you see the scroll at the bottom of the page, at the bottom, I'm giving you the definition of faith and support, because I think there are a lot of folks that truly don't understand that those are two different things. Those are really two different things. Go look at it and check it out. Drew says a good team can hide how good a quarterback really is. The Eagles was definitely one. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. David says 85 Bears, 2000 Ravens, 02 Bucks, 14 Seattle's are historically great defenses. We have to stop using those teams as a norm. That's 4 teams. Okay. 4 teams in 23 years. That's the point. Come on, y'all. Help me out. Great says there there has been cases like a Joe Flacco or Nick Foles, 2011 Eli Manning, where the quarterback just gets insanely hot at the right time. But it can happen, but it doesn't happen often. That's true too. And I'll tell you what, for as good as those Giants teams ended up being, remember, both of those Giants teams did not win their division. Both of those Giants teams were wild cards. Eli Manning, for some reason, when the playoffs started, that's when he started. Horrible regular season. But and it's one of those things, too, when you think about it. He's going to be somebody when you go down in history and look, and I know people don't want to put, sorry, I'm putting them in because I just think to go on those 2 runs and beat the teams he beat, Tom Brady, if you, I think you would, especially when they beat the perfect team. Heard that before. It says one day the Falcons will win multiple Super Bowls. I hope so, brother. I hope it's before I pass on. I hope so. Vinny says, do you think they left Mariota in longer than they wanted to because of the upcoming Netflix documentary? That's a valid point. Folks, there's a documentary coming out that kind of goes along the life of the quarterbacks, and I know it's him. You got to refresh my memory of who the other 2 are, but I saw that. Yeah, you know what? That could be legit. That could be legit. And now, when you think about it, Ben, he probably messed up that man's money. Drew says, I disagree. Matt Ryan been elite, but Falcons always had a defense that hold their own. No quarterback did anything with a defense rate 20th or worse. Drew, I'm going to disagree with you. And again, y'all keep in mind, this is constructive criticism. This is not personal. Elite is thrown around way too much. Just I hear John Harris throws this up all the time, and he's absolutely right. We throw terms up. Who's the GOAT of this? Who's the GOAT of that? Who's the best of that? And when you put who's on Mount Rushmore, we want to do that to everybody. And it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong. In the spirit of sports talk, it's fun. But elite is my definition of elite in any sport. If you're in the top football, then let me just do football. For you to be called elite, in my opinion, you have to be the top 3 in your position for at least 3 to 5 years. Matt Ryan had an elite year when he won the Super Bowl. Oh, Jesus. I was speaking at it when he went to the Super Bowl. But is Matt Ryan an elite quarterback? We can throw all the 20 ranked defenses and all this and all that all we want to. I'll take one step further. Peyton Manning was elite before they won that first Super Bowl against Chicago. But they didn't win until Bob Sanders and the fellas tightened up that defense. Mathis and Freeney and the rest of them. But Peyton Manning was still considered elite. Yeah, I disagree. I disagree with that. I think Matt, and I still, that does not stop that Matt was the best quarterback in this franchise history. No, Matt was not an elite quarterback with the exception of 1 year. The 2000 Ryan could do no wrong. He really couldn't. He was really good. I even say, I think he threw, and I know technically he threw more passes. That pick 6 he threw against Kansas City that Eric Berry ran back, that might have been the worst throw he had that year. I know somebody's going to come back and say there were worse, but he had a really good year that year. Matt Ryan was not an elite quarterback. Facebook user says, I saw Saragusa grab Rich Gannon with his left hand, went airborne, belly flopped on Gannon's shoulder. People got to stop talking about these defense like it's remotely possible today. Yeah. Facebook user also says, not sure how Ridder's going to do because I haven't seen enough games with him as quarterback one. But I know Ridder Heineke is better than Mariota Ridder. Fair. I'm more excited this year than I have been. And that's fair. Yeah, listen, I will say this. I am more excited. Probably more excited about the ancillary part. Taking care of that defense. It's going to be nice to see a defense in this city, not from Athens. It's going to be nice to see that. Ghost says, I didn't believe in Mariota at all. However, I didn't want him to fail. Why? Because he was an Atlanta Falcon. Therefore, he had my full support until he pulled that spinner Rudy. Y'all going with the spinner Rudy on that, right? So that's a perfect example. I supported Marcus Mariota. Of course I did when he was here. But, you know. Fogo in the house. Fogo says, Desmond Ridder, and my reason is this. Whenever we've been good as a team, we've had a good run game and a good to great tight end. We have that here all season. And that's fair, and that's a good case. You would be a great prosecutor for your case, Fogo. I actually a pretty solid case. I would love to defend against you, but that was a pretty solid case. Smart Rod said, this is why this channel is the best online. Oh, thank you. Common sense and logic. These last 4 games all had different factors involved. And like I said, I just want people to just really look at those games. There, you have some people, Smart Rod, that will tell you, oh, he didn't throw any interceptions. He threw. You see what his rating was in the last 2 games? I say, come on, y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to look a little bit deeper. Just look a little deeper. That's all. That's all. It's not. And if there's anybody that, if you look at me and listen to me, that sound like I'm some closet Saints fan or closet some anti-Falcon fan in your glasses, you need thicker glasses than me. I am over the top for this. I haven't noticed. But I'm passionate about my team being the best. So when I see something or someone that like, ooh, I'm questionable, I'm going to support them, but I'm just not sure. I support from Felipe Franks to Parker Hesse to what's the little jokester wide receiver? Frank Darby. I support them all because they wear the brand. That doesn't mean I have to think that they are elite. And I'm not picking on you. I think that was Drew. I'm just saying, just because I support them, which I do, I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you that they are the best thing since sliced bread. That's probably a fault of mine. Maybe because I can turn around, root for the team, yell, scream, whatever, and then come back in the next 2 minutes and say, yeah, but you know what? Be careful. You can't do that all the time. The only time you will not see my criticism is if we holding up the Lombardi when it's saying 3-2-1. And after that, you're not going to see me say anything bad about a team that won the championship. We were so close to doing that. Eric, what's going on? Eric, how you doing, brother? Good to see you in the house. Facebook user says, and Chris Chandler was no longer of use when Jamal Anderson had a bad game or was stopped. That's true. That's true. Oh, man. Facebook user said, rise Herb Alpert. Herb Alpert is one of the most underrated guys. That's you hear that, was that song Rotation? I think that was on that same album. Then some of the stuff he did back with the Tijuana Brass, and yeah, that's a good one. Real good one. Eric says, I can't just choose one musician to relax to, but the Commodores, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Ohio players, Prince, Mint Condition are who I relax to. Mint Condition is a very good band. Earth, Wind, and Fire, you can never go wrong, especially a lot of their early stuff. David Starr says Breezing. You know what? Breezing is one of those albums that you can go through from start to finish. And as much as this Masquerade got the actual pomp and circumstance, Breezing was actually the best song on that album. Fogo says, to grasp the playbook and build chemistry with his wide receiver targets, we are run first team to utilize play action. He's shown he can connect on deep passes. We have a very good offensive line. He'll have time to go through. I do connect on deep passes. That's something I wanted to see a little bit more on the OTAs, though, keeping it real, Fogo. I didn't see a lot as much as that. I know he could get the ball out there, but I wanted to see him connect on a couple of those in practice. Didn't see that. Saw Heineke do it. Smart Rod says, I don't trust Smith and Terry because of the why they were hired. First off, who's the boss here? And this group brought in Mario to Josh Rosen and now Ridder. Okay, now I'm going to defend Terry on this end. Remember what we were doing, and the writing was on the wall when we had the little, 3 or 4 days when we were courting Deshaun Watson, and there was a possibility that he was going to come to Atlanta. Sounds like he was flying in for the day, to actually sign. They had to hurry up and change the game plan. Of course, if you're basically going through all the channels and Deshaun Watson is a couple of hours from signing for your team, it's going to be hard for you to go back to the incumbent quarterback of 14 years and say, oh, my bad, we didn't mean to do that. So they had to appease him. And judging from what you heard from Matt Ryan himself, if you go back and listen to the interviews, Matt Ryan says, asked him, and he was trying to find a team that would, kind of take him. They found it. They worked out a deal and got him out of here. Sometimes you have to gamble. Am I glad in retrospect that it didn't end up being Deshaun Watson? Probably, because you probably didn't want all that baggage that came, the outside baggage. I want the talent, but the outside baggage that came with it at the time. I get that. But at least he was trying. Yeah, the Josh Rosen stuff and everything like that, well, you had to bring in cheap folks, man. You had nobody else that was going to be on the team. You couldn't spend any money. False Star says, I'm not sure if he's the guy, but they're just saying why dog him out if he hasn't had time to prove it. He's been dogged out more than he has been optimistically evaluated. And see, what's the definition of dogged out to me? Is the definition of dogged out, I don't know if he's the guy, because that's not dogged out to me. Now, if you're talking about that small percentage of guy that's just like, oh, man, he ain't about nothing. He ain't done nothing. He's been to Cincinnati. He's not going to do that. Yeah, that's a small percentage. Dogged out, that's dogged out to me. I haven't publicly heard people say Desmond Ridder is trash. Desmond Ridder is not going to amount to be. I have not heard that as loud. Have I seen it from extremist fans? Yes. But I haven't seen it that much. You know what I've heard a lot of? I've heard a lot of people like me to say, all right, let's wait and see what happens. I'm supporting the cat because he's on the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm also supporting him because Terry and he's the guy. But that's not dogging. I mean, I really want to know your definition of dogging, because I think that's another misconception of that people tend to make just because folks have a adverse opinion about somebody that's a heavy criticism. And it's really just people have a different thought. I'm trying to jump down here and catch a couple of people. I realized my reading, I got far behind. Matt Town Dirty, what is going on, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. My brother Larry in the Dixon Way, man. And let me tell y'all something, man. Larry has entertained me through the NBA playoffs, the Atlanta Braves run. I mean, he and his wife have really done a great job of keeping the entertainment going for Atlanta local sports and, again, regular NBA playoffs. Y'all go check him out over at the Dixon Way, man. Yeah, I'm sure, as a matter of fact, I don't even, because I know the Braves are off today, so maybe he's not on today, but please go subscribe to the Dixon Way if you want to hear somebody passionate about his teams, his Atlanta teams. That's your dude for live reaction videos, man. Appreciate it, brother. Smart Rod says the moment you're critical, they say you don't know oh, I get that all the time. I get that all the time. All the time. And I love it, though. Or my favorite Smart Rod is you must be a fake fan. You're a fake fan. You don't like Ridder. You're a fake fan. Okay. I'm not going to the stadium to see Ridder. Not going to the stadium to see Bijan. I'm not going to the stadium to see Drake London. See the Atlanta Falcons beat the mess out of whoever is coming down the line. So I don't care how they do it. I really don't. Season, because it's so long and we got all this space between February and September, that's what this time is for. It's going to be a lot. I ever notice all the hostilities of the world come out when there's nothing to do. And especially these next couple of weeks, now that OTAs are over and they don't get back rolling into the training camp. This is going to be a lot of dead period. So these are where you're going to get your opinions and your heated opinions and stuff like that. Your great takes. But I'm just asking a question. I'm asking a legitimate question about whether in Desmond Ridder or do you support him? And I think it's a big difference. And can you do both? Obviously, if you have faith, you're supporting him. And I don't think it takes a genius to figure that out. But can you also support him and it with support him with not trying to go back and say, I told you so. Because guess what? I told you so not helping your team win. So what good is that to gloat in my own fan base? In the Atlanta Falcons fan base, what good is it to say, Ridder didn't work. Wait a minute. Quarterback of my team. So I do. I'm gonna tell you somebody else who I wasn't a huge supporter of. I didn't like Trufant. I was not the biggest fan of Desmond Trufant. There were people that told me Desmond Trufant one of the best cornerbacks in the game. Show me. I always thought Alford was better. He couldn't keep his hands off people, but I thought Alford. You never saw Alford get smoked. Mainly because Alford would hold him. But Trufant was one of those guys that I just didn't see it. He came out of the University of Washington. I was just like, yeah, all right. But I just didn't see it. So, let me skip down a little bit. I'm trying to get to a couple of folks I hadn't heard from in a minute. Ricky Smith. Ricky says Ridder will be decent or better. I hope so. And I hope so. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for. I hope he does. Ben says, I support Ridder. If he does good, then I have faith in him. And that's legit. And matter of fact, that's what I want to happen. I'm going to support Ridder. And then if Ridder turns around and he's 4-0, then he's convinced me, okay, I got faith that he can do this job. But I can't sit here and tell you. I'm pretty sure Carolina is sitting there right now saying, I'm going to support Bryce Young. But, I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to be great. Yeah, I don't know. Tajik, what's going on, brother? Tajik said, you wouldn't want Ridder to succeed because he's not a sexy name. That's why you wouldn't want him to succeed. That's not true. That's not true. That's so not true, Tajik. And Tajik, what's going on, brother? I hope everything went well with you this week. Me and Tajik went back and forth about it when I wanted Lamar Jackson here, and he's right about Lamar Jackson's talent. I don't know about sexy name. That sexy name doesn't do anything for me. But I did want him from his talent standpoint to be here in Atlanta. But when he left, move on to the next thing. And that's what I'm doing with him. But nah, wasn't a sexy name, bro. Say, he thinks I hate Ridder. I don't gonna use the word you use convince me. Yeah, I think sometimes when, sometimes you got to let people, some people will characterize you. You know what you're talking about. And more importantly, John, you're on the platform with me. I know what you're talking about. So you can't worry about every single person and what they thought. Man, there's people that tell me to this day, including Todrick, that think I have no fandom whatsoever because I'm not rooting for this guy. Not rooting for a scratch it. I don't have faith in this guy. Slim Dolo has a stat for me. He says, since 1920, only 14 rookie quarterbacks made it to the playoffs. One of them, Matt Ryan. So I think it's asinine to think, despite all odds, the Falcons are going to be the best team. There's no data or logic backing that except just being a fan. Now, I know technically people are going to come at you, but he's not a rookie. It's the second year. So get ready for that. But I understand where you're coming from. I understand completely. Drew says, well, Ridder had a better first 4 games than Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Matt Ryan, list goes on. Most people don't understand. Most quarterbacks don't look good the first few games. Yeah, that's true. That's true. 330 says, I was given an upside to Ridder earlier. No problems with any opinions, but I'm a glass half full guy. I respect all opinions, but I do look at upside and make a call. Why do you think we drafted Ridder? Yeah, and that's the point. I do think there's a part that people don't realize. Yeah, we drafted Ridder in a very, very, very dried up quarterback talent pool. Ridder was the second quarterback picked, yet it was like in the 80s. So it wasn't a big pool to choose from. That being said, Ridder does have some of the attributes that you want in your starting quarterback. So, yeah, I get it. But I'm a glass half full guy myself. So I hear you. Greg says, as Falcon fans, we've seen so much fool's gold. We've forgotten what a real goal looks like. Some of these fans don't even remember the Redmond and Harrington days. Boy, we want to win now, honestly. And it makes me chuckle, and it also puts a big smile on my face to hear people who remember those times, who remember when things were looking the worst. Coming off of 2007, when Joey Harrington and a brief appearance from Byron Leftwich in that year after the Mike Vick debacle and the dishonest, disloyal Bobby Petrino got up out of here. I mean, it was hard times. That's why I give Matt Ryan a lot more credit than people do. Matt Ryan could have come in here and took the route of 3 years to develop. Matt Ryan came in here and took us to 5 straight winning seasons, something this franchise had never seen. Ben says we're just going to have to wait till the preseason to see his audition. True. Falconator said this comment is for heard it all before. That saying is copyright. Send me the check. Uh-oh, I missed it. So I missed it, Benny. Go get him, brother. Out here, Falcon Mind, what is going on, man? Y'all go check the brothers out, man. John and Mike put on some of the best content out there in Atlanta today. Brothers, I appreciate y'all stepping in, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, check it out tomorrow. We're talking just frankly about, and it is more my therapy session about Desmond Ridder. Do you have faith in him or do you support him? Again, for those of you look at the bottom, you can kind of see the definition of both words and see what's up. So Falcon, let's see, Facebook user says, most of the fans' reservation against Ridder comes from the draft position. If Ridder's draft position was first round with the same resume, I don't think there would be as much pushback. And that's that might be fair. That might be fair. And because he was the second quarterback pick, see, a lot of people don't think about that. A lot of teams that needed quarterbacks were waiting and said, I'll wait till 2022. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll push down here. Alex Phillips, what's going on? What's going on? How you doing? Rocking with Ridder. I hear you, brother. That's cool. And I think we're all rocking with Ridder. And again, it's not about if not supporting Ridder. That's the biggest take out of this. It's not about not supporting Ridder. It's not. Lisa said it's Mahomes, Cousins, and Mariota. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Dexter says, I believe in Smith. Patterson was considered a bust before coming here. Smith had one of the worst O-line. Was considered a bust. He changed two position, center and left guard. Now we have top five. Good call. Larry says, am I going to be at training camp? I'm going to try to make one or two of them, Larry. I'll let you know. I'm going to try to make one. My work schedule kind of screws me up, but I might try. I think I saw one. Did I see one of them on a Monday? I think I did. I could be wrong. Anthony says, Roy A. That's some good. Ooh, that's some good relaxing. We also, the sub question we were asking today about relaxing music, what musician or song gets you into a relaxed mood? What gets you there? Greg says, you can't blame true Falcon fans for doubt. We've seen a lot of I think we did that before, didn't we? Yeah, we did that before. How did that get down there again? Greg also says his relaxing music is Curtis May. Dexter says we lost a lot of bad games, a bunch of bad games last year. Chargers, both Saints game was horrible. Steelers, Baltimore, 3 fumbles from London in one game on game-winning drives, and Mario to be Mario. And Dexter, there were a couple of those games that while we were giving our flowers to Smith, Coach Smith, there was a couple of them that I was also saying, watch out. Watch out. That's my ace right there. Brother Tidy from Atlanta Bird Gang, folks. It's going to be hot this year, y'all, because I got a feeling we're getting ready to get into some winning ways. Y'all check out Tidy over at Atlanta Bird Gang on YouTube, and also check us out in the Facebook group in Atlanta Bird Gang. He says Matt Ryan was never a consensus elite quarterback. He was good to very good. And I don't know why that's such a, I think, well, Tidy, we've been saying that forever. Appreciating what Matt Ryan did for us, yet not overstating it. I think there is a narrative that, Matt Ryan's the best quarterback in Atlanta history, so you better pump him up like he was Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, and it's just not the case. He had 1 year where he was legitimately one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. I would argue, I don't think there was another year that he was. I really don't. You have to tell me if it was. Statistically, he might have had some yards and touchdowns, but statistics and success need to come together. Out of your Falcon Mind says, I got to have faith in Dez. The man seems to have it from the neck up and a great work ethic. We just need to see him pull it together with all these weapons we put around here. And that's a fair take. And there's nothing wrong with these takes on the people that have faith in Desmond Ridder, because I do feel like he has the ability to get there. I just got to see it. Drew said also Ridder only had London to throw to. Pitts was injured. That's true. That's true. Larry says his relaxing music is Sade, man. You can't go wrong with Sade. And I heard that they might be going back on tour, the whole group. So I don't know. How you doing, Connor? Connor says, I just hate how he's getting written off when he, not even played with the full starting squad. Look at Kenny Pickett and Jalen Hurts' first starts when they are not good. But hey, Kenny Pickett, the jury's still out on Kenny Pickett to me. I know they had an okay season at the end. Well, still a little with him. Jalen Hurts is the person that probably I could get that, because Jalen started the last few games going into next year, but Jalen had a much better supporting team, I think, at that time than Desmond did. But I hear what you're saying. I don't think he's – and again, Connor, is he getting written off, or are people just saying, I'm not sure? Remember, written off to me is saying, man, he's trash. Trade him, bring in Tannehill, bring in anybody like that. I have seen a very few folks that have gone that direction. Have I seen people say, I don't know. I mean, let's see how it works out. That's where I've seen the majority of people who are not on the Ridder bus. The people that are not on the Ridder bus are not saying, oh, man, get him out of here on the first thing smoking. People are saying, let's see. And I think that's why I am. Let's see. When dude has the ball, rooting for him to succeed. But better. Saber says, question, how many games are you willing to give Ridder to get through the growing? Okay, fair question. 6. I'll give him 6. I'll give him 6 games. I'll give him 6 good games to get through. And I think that's fair. Got 17-game season. I think Coach Smith is at a point where he can't afford to ride it out like he did with Mariota. I think if he sees something that's just not working, I think you got to pull the trigger a little quicker than he did last year. Andrew says, turns out Falcons have a 1.5% chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. Do you think we can? I'm going to use today's thing. I support the idea of the Falcons making it to the Super Bowl. Do I have faith in them making the Super Bowl? Not this year. I have faith in them as a team, and I told people this before we started even getting into the Ridder conversation. I have faith that we're going to make the playoffs this year. I just think we're an overall better team this year, and I think that's going to play well in a watered-down NFC South. So I do think we're going to be a better team this year. But Super Bowl, I don't know. Eric says, I haven't heard much on Trey Flowers. Yeah, I know. Since Atlanta signed him, now that he could possibly join Jesse Bates again, do you think he'll be a factor on defense? Now, I was looking, it's funny you say that. I pulled up ESPN's depth chart. And again, this is unofficial, and this is what people, I think I did that wrong. Let me pull this down right quick. And there it is. Sorry, y'all. I pulled up the wrong one. Let's go to share screen. Here it is. And this is ESPN. Again, this is not anything 100% official or whatever. And let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for those of you who can't see like me. Who can't, like, in other words, I'm telling you, I can't see either. So let's see if that pumps up a little bit. Can y'all see that? Hope you can. Desmond Ridder, Robinson, Drake London, Mac Hollis, Scotty Miller, Kyle Pitts, Keith Smith, Jake Matthews, Bergeron. They have penciled in Dahlman. So they have Matt Hollis as the second receiver. That's interesting right there. They have Tyler Algier as the second running back. Now, of course, that'll be interchangeable, I'm sure, during the year. Not a surprise, Cordero will be back there. Cordero will probably handle a lot of the special teams. Almost wondering if they're going to kind of lean on him to do some punt returns as well. But to answer your question, going down here to the defense, they have Trey Flowers on the ESPN. And again, this is unofficial. They have ESPN behind Mike Hughes and D. Alford, which is interesting to me. AJ and Okuda as the starters. They have, for the moment, Darren Hall ahead of Clark Phillips. I have a sneaky suspicion that might end up changing, but that could be me. So that's how it's looking right now. Look at that defense. Look at the difference in that defensive line from last year to this year. Calais Campbell, Onyemata, Grady Jarrett. You know, I mean, just Taquan Smith, who had to fake being in the starting lineup last year. Timmy Horn, who started a couple of games. Ogungadeji, who started a couple of games. Michael Walker, who started a lot of games. Etheridge started some games last year. Ebert Kenny started games last year. All those guys that were starting games last year are now on the bench. That's not because they aren't decent. It's because we upgrade talent. So, excuse me. That's great. Better question. Are you willing to give Ridder 3 full seasons as a starter? Ooh. Now we got to go one step at a time. Let's see how this year ends up too. I can't give him 3 years, and actually the Falcons aren't going to give him 3 years too. Remember, I don't. If he's not, let me put it this way: if he isn't over 500 this year, I think they're going to look at all possibilities to upgrade this position. I really do. So I don't think he's 3 seasons. That's a little rich. Maybe 2. We'll see. Lisa says, I wish the glass half empty people would get together and leave the rest of us alone. They can wallow in their pessimism together. Lisa, you got it. You can't. Now, Lisa, you can't. Everybody is not full throttle, 100% run through the wall for anybody. There are people like that, and I appreciate your fandom, and I love it. But everybody just isn't built that way, and that's fine. And you got to remember, what reason do you have in 2023 that you didn't have in 22, that you didn't have in 21, that you didn't have in 20, that you didn't have in 19? See what I'm saying? I think a lot of people had those full throttle, faith-induced moments where they were saying, this is the year. So now that we actually ready, I think fan fatigue could be kicking in. And that's fair. That's fair. You can't get mad at folks. You really can't. You really I don't think you can. I don't think that's fair that people get mad at that. I'm trying to come back down here as I am about to get the last couple of things in here. Dexter says, can you put Matt Ryan's numbers up against any of the quarterbacks you name? But what he didn't have was those defense. Give us those defenses, and we have at least 3 chips in the Ryan. Yeah, fair. But I mean, sometimes you got to win in spite of your defense. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It maybe the stars didn't line up for Ryan, but here and act like okay, because if that's the case, then the 2017 team should have been a Super Bowl team because the defense. So we're gonna blame Steve Sarkisian. If Matt Ryan was still that guy, it's hard. You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't think you can. Drew says 6 games. How many did it take Josh Allen to Jalen Hurts? Well, remember, I'm talking about at the beginning. And I think what he was saying before I'm not saying that you absolutely pull the rug from under him. I'm saying that you'll have an idea what he'll be by looking at those first 6 games. And again, the schedule is not daunting, the first 6 games. It's really not. So if we end up 2-4 and it's a lot of bad quarterback play, is something to think about. That's why when you throw out hypotheticals like that, I mean, what would you do, Drew? Would you give him the whole season? And he ends up, let's say, we end up, and then if we go the whole season and you have a good defense, then what? I don't know. What's going on, Balls? Balls says it's totally fine to be critical with Ridder, but we all know you would rather have Heineke start than Ridder. No, actually, I wouldn't. I like Heineke, but actually, I would. I want, for the record, though, seriously, I do want Ridder to thrive in this job. I really do. I want him to thrive, and I want him to be the man. Larry said, I find it idiotic that people questioning your fandom because you're skeptical of Ridder. You're a season ticket holder over 2 stadiums long, and you buy more jerseys in a season than you like. That's true, but it's all about opinions, Larry. I don't want to seem like I'm, I get it. I get it. It's the one thing I will say if you're passionate enough to if you're passionate for the Falcons, I kind of applaud you. I just say have an open mind. Lisa says, there are fans that publicly renounce their Falcons fandom every year, but they come back. I'm not built like that. Either you're in or you're out. Now, fandom is different. I think we're talking about, now I'm talking specific player. This whole conversation now is not about Atlanta Falcons fandom. That's ridiculous. We're all Atlanta Falcon fans. I think we were talking about the prospects of Desmond Ridder, about having faith or support. That's maybe a whole different thing. Now, fandom that's we will have words if someone tried to question my fandom as an Atlanta Falcon fan. As far as Ridder as a starting quarterback, we'll see. Let's see how that book will be written. But until then, folks, it is 8:30. We have been on for 2 flat hours. I absolutely appreciate everyone joining us. If you get a chance to, please, and if you haven't already, please like the video. We hope you guys will come back. For those of you who are seeing this the second to go round, please check us out on Monday. We have the Monday Minutia. every Monday, usually around 5 or 6 o'clock. And Friday, we have the brunch. We did not have the brunch this past weekend, but this past Friday, but we will try to get it on Friday this week. Appreciate everyone joining us in the chat. It's a good conversation. If you tell your friends, tell everybody, come on here, continue to comment after the video. Appreciate everyone joining us, folks. It's gonna be a long season, man. We do need to kind of get this thing together. I hope for nothing but the best for number 9. I think Desmond is gonna be the man. I really do. I hope he is. And I'm rooting for him. I'm supporting him. Faith, I'm working on it. Until then, y'all be good. Thanks for watching your Check y'all out later on.